Hello, everybody. This is Dr. David Lombard, your Christian psychologist. I wanted to share a lesson that I learned from my granddaughter, Willow. The other day, we were just hanging out at home doing our normal weekend thing, and it started to rain, so we all came in from the courtyard. But then I noticed a few moments later that Willow was still out playing in the courtyard. And so I was watching her through the screen door, and I started to see her standing up and just walking around and singing in the rain and looking at the raindrops when they were coming down. And I was just so happy to see how, happy a child can be, just enjoying being in the rain. When we always, as adults, feel like it's such an inconvenience, we run from our car into the house. And we actually literally did that. We all came inside. All the adults came inside because it was raining. Then I went to the door and I was going to talk to her, but then I heard her. And she wasn't just singing in the rain. She was praising in the rain. She was singing a worship song, and her hands weren't in the air touching just the raindrops. Her hands were in the air, and she was praising. And she was reaching out to the Lord through her singing in the rain. And it was such a beautiful image to see my 4-year-old granddaughter Willow out there singing to God in the rain. When so many adults, we feel like the rain is such a hassle, or we feel like so many hassles in our life happen. And here's this beautiful image of this little girl, this little 4-year-old girl who, yeah, it's raining and yeah, it's getting her toys wet and she can't do what she wanted to do, but it doesn't matter that she's having this inconvenience. She's loving God and praising God and singing out to God in the rain and not allowing that inconvenience to ruin her day. And so watching that, I reminded myself of a lot of lessons that it's so easy to forget. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about this in this video. Thanks to Willow for reminding me of these things. One of the first things to realize that I always want to remember is that, you know what? The rain is simply an inconvenience, as are so many other things in our life. It's not that it's all that bad, but we tend to take these little inconveniences like a store being closed when they thought they were open, or not being able to reach somebody when we feel like we really need them, or a store being out of something. A lot of people are dealing with that right now with what's going on with supply chain issues around the world, and we get so angry. The other thing that I started to realize and remember is sometimes these inconveniences that God gives us are places and times for us to grow and to figure out if we can embrace that maybe I could embrace, the fact that, yeah, I can't get some of the things I want to get at the store. And maybe this is a time when I'm supposed to be challenging the overabundance in my life and reflect back on maybe I don't, this is just an inconvenience. It's not going to ruin my life that I can't buy exactly the things that I want at the store. It helps me to remember that I've got so many wonderful gifts that I'm given every day, both living in America with this country of plenty, but also with all the things that God gives us, that these little inconveniences are just raindrops, and trying to keep that in perspective and trying to see that. The other thing I try to remember is, sometimes I'm not that important. It doesn't really matter if it rains on me. It doesn't really matter if I get wet or dirty, or, my hair doesn't look perfect, or my beard has got stuff in it, which often does have stuff in it. Because we take ourselves so seriously. And I watch my little 4-year-old granddaughter who is not paying any attention to anybody, paying attention to her and not taking herself too seriously. She was purely enjoying life because she didn't let her self-image in any way affect her in that moment. And so that's part of what I'm working on, is not allowing those inconveniences and those times when I become self-conscious to somehow drive me to feel negative about the world or negative about my situation or my lot in life. So how do I plan on challenging some of these things? Well, first thing, just being really practical and concrete, I'm going to play in the rain more. When it's raining, I'm going to go out in the rain just like my granddaughter, maybe go out with her, not with an umbrella, not to hide from the rain, and just embrace the rain. That water that's coming down. Our farmers love it when it rains out here in the Midwest because we need it, but try to embrace that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little bit more in the mud and get dirty with my granddaughter and do some of those things that you feel like are a hassle, but start embracing doing those things and understanding, what, if I end up having to get dirty, having to get wet, having to get too hot, too cold, it's too windy, all those things, embrace those things and don't hide from those things and see them as inconveniences. And then the third thing, the last thing I'm going to do is when I do run into these things that I as a human see as an inconvenience, I'm going to rename those and try to really focus on, this is an opportunity that God's giving me to grow, to maybe challenge my over dependence on this or that, or my over self-esteem on myself, that, you know what, I worry so much about how I'm coming across, that it matters so much if my hair was a mess, or if I was dirty, or if I got wet in the rain. And it was, I really appreciate seeing Willow that day in the rain. And it really did help me remember times when I was much younger, when walking in the rain was fun. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale. It rained every day. You either embrace the rain, embrace being out in it, or you didn't really have a life outside the house. So thank you, Willow. Thank you for this lesson. I hope this lesson also helps others to challenge those small inconveniences. Do not let them become a really big negative, something to drive anxiety or frustration or anger. And instead, enjoy getting dirty, enjoy being in the rain, and enjoying all these wonderful things that God gives you. As always, I hope you guys are having a wonderful week wherever you are in this wonderful world we have out here. God bless and take care.